and welcome to ET Garage. Today's video, I'm going to take this piece of scrap metal and make a valve spring compressor. Okay, like I was saying, I am going to take this piece of scrap metal and make a valve spring compressor. I do have a valve spring compressor. It's one of these. Don't ever buy one of these. These are junk. They're a pain in the ass to use, all that good stuff. Just don't buy them. They're probably the cheapest ones you can get. Now, I could just go out and buy one, a cheap one, and do that. I decided I'm going to take a piece of scrap metal and a little bit of my time and just make one. These Vortex heads are from a Gen 1 Vortex block that I bought for 100 bucks. I'll leave links to the videos. These heads are cracked. They're no good, but I'm still going to take them apart and save all the valves and springs, and I doubt I'll ever do anything with them, but what the heck. Anyway, I am going to make this as simple as possible, and I'm not going to do anything in my milling machine or lathe or anything like that fancy. I am going to just take my 20 plus year old Ryobi drill and my Sawzall. You could use a hacksaw. You don't need any you don't even need a Sawzall for that. You can just use a hacksaw if I had to. Cut this up, and I'll show you exactly what I'm going to do. More detail here shortly. But if you need to make one, that's basically all you need. There's other ways you can do this. You can make some type of lever and pivots on the ball and press it down. I'm going to do something a little different, and I'll show you that here in a minute. So let me get a few more things, move the camera around, and I'll show you. Okay, basically I'm just going to measure across here. I'm just going to use my little square I have, aluminum square, and from the outside of that valve to the outside of that valve, it's about 3 inches. So I need a 3-inch by basically 3-inch square. So I'm just going to mark out 3-inch square on here and then cut it out. That simple. All right, it's marked out. Time to cut. All right, now that I got this piece cut out, and if you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm basically going to drill 2 holes, so these slides over the studs, and then a couple of slots that will fit over these valve spring keepers and retainers, and I'm going to run 2 nuts down, and that will compress the springs, and then I'll be able to remove the keepers and remove the valves. And that's what I'm doing. So I got to mark these 2 holes, drill. Then after I get it on here, I'll figure out where I got to mark these and cut the slots out and all that stuff. So let me get going on that. Okay, the holes are drilled. They're not exactly what you call perfect. So now I need to measure where I need to drill these holes. Now the valves are spread further apart than the rocker arm posts. So I got to measure that, which is about, let's see, 1 7/8 center to center, roughly. And then I need to go, let's see, at least a 3/4 inch hole or slot So, and then I need to go about 3/4 inch from the center of the post to where I need to be on this valve spring retainer. So I'm going to measure that out, drill them, and cut them. So let me do that. Alright, there it is. It's pretty rough looking and I kind of messed up the cut there. But it does fit on there good. And what I'm going to do is take one of the old rocker arms and stick it under there. And that will help add sort of like a pivot. And then I took the interference nuts. I would have just used, it's probably better to use just regular nuts. But I didn't have any in this size, so I'm just going to use the interference nuts, and I ground the heads off so they don't, that kind of takes the interference part of it, that pinches the threads. Throw them on there. You can just use a ratchet. You don't need to use a drill like I'm doing. And yeah, it worked really well. Get the keepers out. Oops. You can. Yep, moving the camera around. Of course, you want to use a magnet if you can. This makes it easier. There's the exhaust. There's the intake. Voila, there we go. It worked pretty good. I mean, it ain't fancy, but it gets the job done. Springs are off. Taking this off, it hung up a lot, so I think I might like deburr these a little bit more, round them out, so this way they pivot a little bit better. But I'm happy with that. It was quick, it was easy. It was a hell lot better than this. So if you need to make yourself a valve spring compressor, this is for a small block Chevy, of course. Depending on your head application, you know, you might not have heads with posts. And, you know, there's different ways to make your own valve spring compressors. Most of the time, just go out and borrow one, buy one, or rent one, or whatever. Or if you have a piece of scrap metal around and some time, just make one up. Anyway, this works good for small block Chevy. Should work. This type should work for any type of pedestal mount type pivot rocket arm setup for this type. Alright, there you go. One rudimentary valve spring compressor made from a piece of scrap metal I've laying around. Hope this video was helpful in some way. I could, there's probably a dozen different ways to do this. And there's probably better ways I could do this. But that was a quick and dirty way. My cordless drill, of course, the battery died during the video. And I just used my corded electric. That's not important. Basic hand tools and a piece of scrap metal. You can make yourself a valve spring compressor if you need one. Then you just go out and buy one. I don't know what the prices are. I'm sure you can get a cheap Chinese one pretty cheap. if you want to save yourself a few bucks and you have scrap metal and some time, do it this way. Anyway, I'm not going to keep rattling on, so I want everybody to have a great day, and God bless.